Good day, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are getting reports out of Iran that senior military leadership inside of Iran has stated that they would level uh, two Israeli cities, specifically Haifa and Tel Aviv. So there is Haifa, which Iran is saying that it will level in the event of a conflict with Israel, and Tel Aviv. And there it is on the map. So, could Iran follow through on its threat? Well, first off, let's take a look at uh, some other things that are going on in the region as well. So, in the last 24 hours, it is being reported that Saudi Arabia has intercepted approximately 10 drones that were aimed at targets inside of Saudi Arabia. And as we know, Saudi Arabia is engaged in conflict with the Houthis of Yemen. And as we speak, there is fairly heavy fighting occurring in and around the city of Marib. But back to the Iran Israeli issue. So obviously, Israel has stated that it will not let Iran obtain nuclear weapons. And one of those options to stop Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons is the use of military power. So if Israel utilizes military power against these targets inside of Iran to degrade its nuclear program, would the Iranians follow through on its threat to attack Israel, specifically those two cities? Yes, I do believe they would. I obviously do not believe that they could level Haifa and Israel, but they could launch enough ballistic missiles at targets in Haifa and Tel Aviv that would possibly overwhelm the Iron Dome system. And the Iron Dome is an air defense system that is designed to protect Israel from rocket fire, specifically Katyusha rockets. So I think there would be other systems that would come into play in terms of protecting Israel from these ballistic missiles, such as the Patriot and other domestic systems the Israelis have produced to defend itself from these Iranian ballistic missiles. And we have seen the accuracy of the Iranian ballistic missiles in terms of their capacity just to be able to get large ballistic warheads into the confines of an airbase, such as was done in Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq when it targeted forces of the United States. So if the Iranians did that on a larger scale against the Israelis, I would assume that their accuracy may be similar. Now, it is a greater range. Obviously, Israel is a farther distance than the target that was hit in Iraq. So I'm not sure if those systems that the Iranians used against the Iraqi airbase that was housing U.S. forces could be used against targets in Israel. So the question is then are those missiles as accurate as the semi-ballistic missiles that were used against the target in Iraq? And we don't know that as of yet. We do know that the Iranians have utilized a system uh, against ISIS forces inside of Syria. We don't know how accurate those systems were, but I would reasonably believe that Iran does have the accuracy to get close to the city center of Haifa and Tel Aviv. And as you can see, these areas in Israel are very dense. Israel has obviously is a very small country, and its population has expanded, and its urban areas take up quite a bit of the country now. So any system launched at Tel Aviv is probably going to impact an urban target, and it's just then the question is how good is the systems that Israel has to counter these Iranian systems. I would imagine again they could hit some, but probably not all. And I think that is going to be a definite concern for the Israelis moving forward with any strike against Iran to curtail the nuclear weapons program.